to the Hurley Investments Marketing Commentary for May the 4th of 2026. May 5th of 1972, Cinco de Mayo, I was born. So I'm letting everyone know I'm taking tomorrow off and Wednesday. Going on a little bit of an overnight fishing playing trip with the son, who's heading to Brazil in the near future. So if I seem a little distant for the next couple days, it's because I am. Anyway, here we go. Very interesting thought process through our meetings or our conversations. And our title today is going to be nothing more than, what do you do when even with earnings, the stocks won't go higher? So I guess the question is, what causes this? What causes our stocks to not go higher, even when you have some great earnings? Give me your thoughts, sentiment. I hear poor market conditions. Let me change that a little bit, Maud, and you tell me if you agree with me. Poor global perceptions. Sometimes, to be honest with you, I just think some stocks are out of favor with market makers, with hedge funds. Our conditions right now have actually been amazing. In fact, I'm going to start this off a little bit different. Let's go to the big picture. I highlight what I think is important for you guys to hear. All hail the impressive earnings growth. Earnings growth has surged to 27.2%, with broader sector contributions beyond technology. Evaluated valuations look justified, even robust EPS growth. And in all honesty, he says there's limiting overvaluation concerns. So when you read that first little part, broader sector growth beyond technology. But then you got to dig in what some of these jokers say, right? The information technology sector is projected to account for 10.2 percentage points, or 82% of all the overall growth rate. The financial sector effectively accounted for the balance of the projected growth rate. The rest of the lot didn't have much to compete, if anything at all, but healthcare, communication services, and energy sectors were expected to detract 1.7 percentage points, 0.49 for communication services, as healthcare is supposed to be down 1.17, and energy was supposed to be down 0.17. It's interesting because when you look at information technologies, he gives credit, said thanks primarily to Netflix. The sector contributed 6.63 percentage points to the overall growth rate. 6.63 based on 3 individual stocks. With the robust first quarter results and projected growth rate of a 21.5 for the second quarter, the calendar of 2026 EPS estimate has increased from $308.61 for the total S&P 500 at the end of 2025 to $328.07. Today up 21% from the close of the year of 2025. That computes to a PE multiple of 22.1. But when factoring for EPS growth rate, you get a current got my stuff in the way. Current PEG ratio of just 1.0. The market then is not as overvalued as one might think. The earnings story is so far at 2006 is a great one, and the market is running with it as it should be. So, as I think about it, my opinion, the market, and this is just going to be the S&P 500. Good job, Hurley. S&P 500 market valuations need to be adjusted higher. Anyone have a general idea of what the average S&P 500 EPS should be? What's the average EPS that we should have for the S&P 500? Someone give me a guess. If we don't know, we're learning here. This is our learning section for what we're doing and why. 7%. You got the 7 right, but on average, the split between a 7.2 to a 7.5 is the high side of a historical earnings per share for the S&P 500. We're sitting at a 22. We've been at this adjusted higher than 17% for probably going on 10 years. So what do you do with stocks with earnings that they just won't go higher? One of the biggest problems is old data and trying to reference it to today. I mean, for 6 years, 80% plus of the growth of the S&P 500 has been the Mag 7. The majority of the S&P 500 growth can be broken down into like 32 different stocks over the lifetime of the S&P 500. To be honest with you, does it make me worry? Of course it does. The first thing I started doing was taking a look at our valuations. For a couple of these, I'm just going to grab the highlighter. Can Apple really get to $347? It was trading at 273. It's what, at 277, had a hard time getting above 280. Did Apple get to 247? Maybe. I'm going to show you an interesting article. It makes me wonder if Apple will reach it. I would suspect it will by the end of the year, but it sure didn't take off and hold its gains from great earnings. Kind of funny because I'm going to show you some contradictions in what people are saying on Apple's earnings. Boeing. Can Boeing get to 263 when it was at 188-ish? I guess it was at 214. Well, it's trading at 222. Had some pretty good earnings. I'm doing two things at once here as I'm going back and forth between positions. I'm not going to worry too much about Baidu. We're not really in the China stocks this year. I kind of feel like we're being smart there. Disney earnings Wednesday morning before the market opens. Take a look at Disney right now, trading at 101.50 at the close today. Was up at 112. Can it get to 150? Kevin, is Disney dead or money? It had like a 40% upside opportunity. Google. We got into Google this year, 315. Can it get up to 393.75? Currently trading at 382.86. I don't know if you remember, but in December, it was like, oh, Google had its run. Google ran so much last year. It's done. It can't get any farther. Google's almost at its earnings per target, and it'll be there in 4 months this year. Here's some that are a little more, Kevin, really? Can it really get there? Key Corp, 2166. Trading at 2163, beginning of the year. Target price is $39.38. We didn't know that we were going to have a collapse of private lending. We didn't know we'd have a collapse of regional private lending. Key Corp's not really in that. Do I still think it can get to $39.38? When I don't know, instead of guessing, I work the numbers. It can definitely earn $1.79 for their earnings. That's not unrealistic. It's not unheard of. I don't think there's a problem or an issue with Key Corp getting to that number by way of its earnings. It posted 44 cents. Banks usually run into their greatest months are the summer months. Lending. Can they make $1.80? Yes. Meta. Can Meta get to 900? Really, Kevin? Can it get there? I find this interesting because mathematically, we've proven it. Chart based. Sorry. Chart based. We just came from 526 to 692. $175 in 3 weeks. I have an article on Meta. Can it get to 900? Could it do $175 in 3 weeks? $300 with some good earnings? No questions asked. That gets us to our 900. Micron, 750. This is kind of an interesting one. 311. At the beginning of the year, it's trading at 577.79. Nvidia, 187, trading at 197. It was just up to 216. Can Nvidia get to 344? I believe it can, because mathematically, it's going to have no problem getting over $7.66 for earnings this year. Micron, no problem getting over $25 of earnings this year. Meta, no problem getting over $30 of earnings this year. Everything lines up. Yes, it can be done. Will it be done? I don't know. But I keep checking my numbers because what it really comes down to, nobody, I'm going to put that in all capitals, nobody cares what you think. So just show them the numbers. Numbers are frustrating. Palantir got 33 versus 28 cents revenue. What, $1.6 billion against 1.5 billion. Beat it by $900 million. I think I put it in the very bottom. There we go. Palantir top estimates by 85% revenue growth. Last quarter, it grew significantly in the private sector. This quarter, it grew significantly in the government sector. Punished for growing in the private sector last earnings, seems like it's being punished for growing in the government sector this earnings. Palantir reported first quarter results on Monday that sailed past analyst expectations and issued guidance that topped estimates. What more can you do? I don't know. Net income roughly quadrupled to $870.5 million or 34 cents per share from 214 million or 8 cents per share a year earlier. It quadrupled its revenue. It quadrupled the earnings per share. It beat on forward guidance. And the company aftermarket hours is down 80 cents. No, it's not. It's down $3.94. Excuse me. It's not the company's fault. Is it out of favor? Maybe. I made the joke that someone didn't think it was very funny, but better watch out because maybe Trump's gonna bomb these guys in the near future. It was a joke in poor taste, apparently. I thought it was funny, but they can't do anything else. So, Kevin, the question is, Kevin, stock is down, why? Or more importantly, when do you give up? And it's a simple answer. When fundamentals no longer seem to matter. It's not sentiment, though. But when the fundamentals don't seem to matter, when I have all the numbers to justify it, and maybe year over year, we can't get the bounce, that's when I give up on them. Don't totally give up because I know the moment I give up on them, guess what's going to happen? They're going to bounce higher. But there have been times where I got out of the stock position and just went for some leap long calls, just for in case, just for when I got out of the stock and that money marketer's like, hey, Hurley's out of it. Let's now raise it up higher. I do keep a position in play, but a significantly smaller position than what we had when it comes to stock ownership. Sometimes you just don't know. But you work your numbers. Sometimes you feel like the stock market's against you, like people are idiots, right? I like my stupid people comment. It happens. But we did all that work for 3 weeks through Christmas. We work all those valuations. Some years they're spot on. We come to like the last 2 weeks of December, and boy, 11 of the 16 stocks were spot on last year, and we kind of smile and grin. But someone just asked, how close your experience have been to those estimates in the past? Some have been right on. I mean, some of you have talked about Boeing, right? Oh, Kevin, why aren't we in Boeing? Well, it hasn't moved. Or not Boeing, Bank of America, excuse me. It really hasn't moved. And the growth was only up to like $62. And to get from 56 to 62, we used all $6 in put profits. There was no growth there. I don't work those numbers primarily to show what we're in. I work those numbers because that's what the big companies are doing. And I'm looking for those same opportunities like Warren Buffett to find undervalued stocks that have the opportunity to double in the next 12 months. I just happen to use the puts. He uses warrants to protect himself. That's just the way that we go. All right, here we go. Taking a look at our indexes. Dow Jones is slightly bullish. Well, it's bullish, but slightly coming down off of that median 70 line. S&P keeps trying to touch and break above, but this is troublesome to me. Not that the S&P should stay above the overbought line there on the RSI, but it bounces above it. That's prime for a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of a 3 to 7% pullback. And the NASDAQ looks just the same. Indexes were not meant to be overbought. There's plenty of sell orders that'll take this down pretty quickly. For that reason, I would think the S&P will end May down maybe 2.5%. Where I think the market's end this week, lower. That's why we haven't taken off or ripped off all of our protection off of some of our earnings. Or we even use some deep in the money covered calls on other parts of our earnings for protection. Earnings this week, we have Palantir today. It's kind of a soft week of earnings. I will be paying attention because we have some coming up like Duke Energy, Shopify, Devon Energy, ET, Energy Transfer tomorrow. Wednesday, we have Disney, JCI, Johnson Controls, DoorDash, Uber, Orange Corning, Heinz Kraft. Thursday, McDonald's, Hertz, Shake Shack, Tapestry reports, Block, and HubSpot. It's interesting. HubSpot's fallen from like $880 all the way down to $200. They're broke. They earn a lot of money, but there's no profit in it. I actually try to explain this to my brother who was working for him. I'm like, Mike, man, you got to find another job. You have got to find something else to go to because it doesn't look good. The numbers don't look good. And he's like, oh, we're good. We're making so much money. I'm the number one, 3 salesman or something like that. Hey, Mike, Merry Christmas. You're laid off. Unbelievable. lot of companies, if you just work the numbers, you can see where they're at. And not only if it's a good investment, if they're going to be profitable in the long run. If you want to work for them, maybe that might be another one. Now, yes, are there some that are anomalies like Amazon for 20 years that can't make a profit and keeps going higher? Yes. But again, some people are just not smart. How am I looking to trail? Oh, excuse me. Economic reports, pretty well. It's just a not important week until Friday. That's why I get to take a day or two off for my birthday. Factory orders today, which were fabulous, 1.5 on an estimated 0.5. Factory orders is increasing. Tuesday, I pay attention to the ISM services. That's the old title. It's the ISM non-manufacturing, which is the services. Usually the services does much better than the manufacturing for the ISM. I'm going to go back. Give me a quick second here because I'm pretty sure ISM came in weaker than expected on Friday. So I'm curious to see if we're going to see the same thing in the services. That doesn't make sense because usually when you get into a war, manufacturing becomes more robust. Nowadays, back in the days, it used to be people went to work to make the bullets and so forth, to make more cars, Jeeps, tanks. Now we're just making more bombs. Let's face it, we're making more bombs. We've got to replenish our supply. Usually, ISM manufacturing goes up, productivity goes up. It was rather unique to see it down lower last Friday. ADP employment on Wednesday. Again, don't put a whole lot of thought into it because, in all honesty, ADP employment is off even more now than before when they started putting speculative value of products in there like artwork and so forth. Average work week, that'll be the big one. To be honest with you, non-farm payroll, private payroll, hourly earnings, unemployment rate, they should all come in really, really good if we're following our initial claims. Initial claims, lowest in like 60 years. We're putting people to work. The question is income, personal income. Is the personal income going up with our transient, hopefully temporary gas prices? It's pretty interesting because from everything I'm reading, and I'm trying to calculate the data before I present it to you, for all intents and purposes, the other Arab nations in the Middle East are turning on Iran, are finding other ways to move their oil not through the Strait of Hormuz, and we have a huge amount of tankers that are coming to the U.S. and Venezuela for Venezuela, Brazilian, and U.S. oil. I don't have the confirmation, so until I can confirm numbers that I see on false news, CNBC, Instagram stuff blows up on my thing for this. Until I can find real numbers, I don't present it. But it does seem like a lot of oil is moving through the Gulf, through Brazil, and through Venezuela. It does seem like the Arab nations are turning on Iran. For honestly, Iran being the bully for all these years, it's really neat to see OPEC somewhat collapsing where countries now can sell as much oil as they want to as often as they need to, making it cheaper on a global level versus controlling that oil through OPEC. All right, some very interesting articles here for you. UAE, United Arab Immigrants. has exited OPEC. And really, they've exited OPEC so they can put more oil on the market to make more money. They've also opened up a pipeline that bypasses the Strait of Hormuz, that where it points, where their point of their country points up to Iran, that choke point. They're done. They're like, you know what? We're selling our oil the way we want to. Unique part of this, that is now going to be done in US dollars versus the three other currencies that the Middle East was using in the past. Pentagon AI chief confirms Department of Defense's expanded use of Google. Says reliance on one model is no muy bueno. Google has a great runway to easily bypass our expected earnings per share and the expected target price. Google could run significantly higher than that through this year. Here is the information to work your numbers behind it. Someone came out with Micron made double as AI boom stokes demand for memory hardware. We have a crap ton, highly technical financial term. We have a crap ton of Micron bull calls. And we're looking to exit them with 97.5% or higher maximum profit opportunity. Very interesting article. Our Micron, I think, was 750. I'm just going to show you this because I kind of giggle a little bit. Highest price is 1,000 by 43 consensus individuals, right? Average target price is 535. They're way off. Upside is negative 7.5%. Who are the dummies that have a hold and underperform? Hold and underperform, and this was what, $250 at the end of last year? Oops. Very interesting article on why Micron could easily get to 750, maybe $1,000 a share. It's all listed right here. These are the reasons why. Meta. Quarterly stock drops. Excuse me. Meta stock drops in quarterly results as elections in Iran drag down user numbers. I don't get it. 7% drop. I'm glad it bounced off of 600 and hell. Earnings per share $7.31 versus an estimated $6.79. Revenue $56.31 billion versus an expected estimated of 55.43. Even after they raised CapEx, revenue still climbed 33% from 42.3 billion last year, marking the fastest quarter growth since 2021. But because we're in a war and Iran disruptions on Meta stock dropped at 7% or $60, those two don't correlate. It's one of those where you want to tell someone like, no shit. Of course it dropped because of that. There's your reason. The earnings are there. If this is not an expected buying opportunity for people, I don't know what is. Another very interesting. We got a kind of a pot from Apple. It's giving it back. Look at what people are writing. Apple revenue guidance tops estimates with booming iPhone and Mac demand, right? Let's go through that iPhone demand really quickly. iPhone revenue is only 56.99 billion when it was expected to be 57.21. Oh my gosh, that completely contradicts the title of the quote unquote article. Apple revenue guidance tops estimates on booming iPhone and Mac demand. Well, the demand missed by 220 million iPhones. Things that make you go, huh. Mac revenue 8.4 versus 8.02. Yes, there is a significant run on the more expensive iPhone 17s. They make more profit off of those phones. The correct title should have been Apple revenue guidance tops estimates on booming iPhone 17 sales and Mac demand. Again, you don't see it in the article. The article somewhat contradicts itself, and you just wonder who's writing these, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense sometimes. Very interesting article in my KSL news. That's the news for Salt Lake City. The Ford F-150 is still one of the best dual vehicles you can buy. My suggestion is buy from the company that did not bankrupt its pensions and did not borrow money from the government. Spirit Airlines shut down and gone. Can't keep up with prices. You wish. The reality is you couldn't keep up with flights that were on time, and your customer service was lousy. You were a cheap flight for a reason. But Allegiant and JetBlue far, 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 far surpasses these guys in on-time flights and customer service. Goodbye, Spirit. And then the Palantir that I had for you guys to read. Any questions I can answer for you today? I tried to get those questions answered for those of you that were emailing me about why these stock prices weren't moving like we were expecting. Any questions you guys have for me that I can answer for you today? Yeah, someone did ask, just curious, since you prepare these target valuations, how close have they been? Again, some years we're right on. Really, it's just proving the numbers to me that I see the opportunity. But more importantly, you guys, again, don't pay me for what I think or feel or hope. I have to work these numbers so that, plain simple, when you ask me, Kevin, why did you get into Micron? Well, because it's going to go to 1,000 and here are my numbers. Why did you get into Google? Because it's going to go way past its estimate, 450-ish. Here's my numbers. On the flip side, why are you in Palantir? Well, NVIDIA. Well, why didn't you get into Bank of America? Let me show you the numbers. Why are you in KeyCorp? Well, you've got to remember, this is just a screenshot, little bit of time right now. And I do that because I feel you guys deserve your money manager to do the work, to know what his expectation is, really not just to throw you in a fund, right? Not to really just pick the flavor of the month. So Keeve and I, and now Brian this year, went through hundreds, I think just under 1,000 stocks. And we just wanted to make sure that we were doing what you guys would expect out of us before we put you into position. Nathan just said, are there positions that look great at the start of the year that currently look regrettable? Regrettable? No. Everything still adds up. The good news is some positions have been up and back down, so we've had protection on them. I really wish KeyCorp had moved better and Meta, But for the most part, everything else that we've looked at, still running with the theme that, hey, Mag 7's where it's at. I might think differently on Disney this coming Wednesday, Nathan. But for regrettable, right now, no. And it probably won't hit a regrettable stage until September. But usually then we have a Christmas rally and a run. Sometimes, in all honesty, we picked up our expected target price middle of October through the middle of December, an 8-week period of time. But as of right now, nothing is standing out as a problem. And the numbers still look very intact all the way across the board. It's just a matter of the market realizing it and playing catch up to it. Great question, Nathan. All right, any other questions you guys have for me? Where am I going fishing? So we're actually going to run out to Flaming Gorge on the Wyoming side. And got a friend that's just got a new Lund boat. And not only does he have a new Lund boat, but he's ripped off all the Garmin fish finders from the last one. We literally have a Lund boat with fish finders front and back and both sides. We have 360-degree fish finders on this thing. And usually it's about the beginning to middle of May that the kokanees go to deeper, colder water, which annoys the Mackinaw or the big lake fish. So those kind of come up. So it'll be a quick run out there for tomorrow and the next day. And then the 21st through the 24th, I'm disappearing. And we're just going to fish and eat fish. And hopefully I'll have some good pictures for you. We're planning on doing any work for the rest of this year. Every day we're doing it, but it's kind of neat. In fact, for those of you that don't know, Hurley Investments has its 6th new registered investment advisor. I just went through the paperwork, paid the filing fees, created all the government U4 and ADV paperwork. We are going to welcome Jack Brenton in as the newest registered investment advisor into the Hurley Investments umbrella. But we're probably going to kind of have him with you guys here in 2 weeks. Going to go spend next week in Denver working with them. Yes, you are exactly right, Abraham. There's a couple congratulations, Jack. So when he listens to this here in 3 days or 4 days or in a week, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 congratulations for Jack. All right, guys, have a wonderful evening. Next week I will be traveling, so we'll be hearing Brian talking to you. And with that said, we're always watching the market, so don't have to. Guys, have a great evening. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everyone.